Shaping the future, Egypt's interim leader sets an election timetable, but the Muslim Brotherhood rejects that plan. Boosting relations, Nigeria's President Goodluck Jonathan is to seal $1 billion infrastructure loan deal while in China. We'll have the latest from Beijing.
We received about 257 films, and as you know, we cannot screen all of the films. They're very beautiful films.
Producers and actors resolve to inspire emerging filmmakers as they showcase their talents at the Zanzibar International Film Festival. Hello there, welcome to Africa Live, CCTV's new program that brings you African and global news from all perspectives. I'm Ramanyang in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Here's what else we have lined up for you in the next 30 minutes. In South Africa, some 5,600 striking workers are back to work after a one-day wildcat strike at Anglo-American Platinum. And the Battle of the Islanders will be focusing on Mauritius, who are pretty upbeat ahead of the match against the Seychelles. Let's start, however, in Egypt, where officials in Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood have rejected a timetable for new elections as laid out by the interim president, Adli Mansour. Party leader SM El Erian says a plan for constitutional changes and a vote next year will reverse the political gains achieved in Egypt so far. Egypt's interim head of state had set a speedy timetable for elections to drag the Arab world's biggest country from a deep political and economic crisis. Now, this, of course, comes after the military ouster of the Islamist president Mohamed Morsi last week, which sparked a wave of bloody protests in which at least 50 people were killed on Monday alone. A decree issued by Adli Mansour pointed to a parliamentary ballot within about 6 months, with a presidential vote to follow sometime thereafter. Now, Egypt's interim leaders are expected to name a new prime minister for the country in coming hours. The country's political turmoil has taken an enormous toll on ordinary Egyptian citizens. So what exactly are they looking for from their next prime minister? CCTV's Yasser Hakim takes us through their situation.
Cafes filled with the jobless, many of them victims of the economic slump that's accompanied Egypt's political instability these past 3 years. Unemployment is now running at 13%. And these people are desperate for a leadership that can settle the country and get them working again.
He must be someone who can attract foreign investments and concentrate on the tourism industry. Those two would create many jobs for us. But to succeed, he needs to retain security first.
We cannot afford someone new who will make mistakes and learn as he goes, like Kandil did. No, we want an experienced man who knows our problems and can deal with it.
Several candidates have been sounded out in the last couple of days. Most here prefer an economist with lots of experience. Others have little faith in politicians to deliver. Abu Ahmed stands here 14 hours a day, selling food to support his family. And he's grown used to expecting little from the government.
I don't care to watch TV and see who the new prime minister is. I have my own problems. The prices are higher every month and I am not selling like before. Politicians are the reason for our sufferings anyway.
Still, many Egyptians are hoping the haggling among political forces will produce a leader who can turn things around. The new prime minister will be the fourth in 2 years. And whoever fills the vacant job, Egyptians expect him to deliver, and this time, deliver fast. This is Yasser Hakim for CCTV, Cairo.
Let's now cross over to the Egyptian capital of Cairo, where CCTV's Famida Miller is standing by with the latest. Famida, what's the latest on the ground in the evolving crisis in Egypt?
Thanks very much, Rama. Well, as we'd heard just a bit earlier, the Muslim Brotherhood has rejected that timetable for this transitional period that's been put forward by the President's office here. And we've also had concern around the burials that are expected for the 51 people who were killed in clashes with the military on Monday here in Cairo. Now, those funerals, or at least some of those funerals, are expected on Tuesday, and there are, of course, some concerns that there would be violence. However, we've also spoken to the Egypt's Islamist Noor Party. Now, the Noor Party, if you remember, withdrew from negotiations with political leadership here following those clashes with the military where dozens of people were killed. the new party now says they are willing to engage in talks, future talks with the government as this transition continues, rather the existing government, which really is just made up of an interim president, and that is Adli Mansour. Now, we spoke with the new party's Amr al-Meki.
Of course, the blood is very scary in the street. We are against any thing like that, and we want people to protest safely, to say their voice safely, and we have to ensure that. And we are asking the army and security, the police security, to ensure that for all the supporters or the people against them.
When speaking to the National Salvation Front, essentially, quite a lot of blame has been put on the Muslim Brotherhood as well as the Noor Party for what they say is a lack of cooperation with regards to discussions going forward. Is that the case? What is your response to that?
We are not withdrawing the whole participation in the dialogue. we are speaking in favor of all the Egyptians. So if we think there is a move forward to a democratic and political transition period, then we will participate, of course. Our positive approach has been implemented before in many other dialogue. So, I mean, all the Egyptians know that.
A contentious issue that we've seen in Egypt in the last 48 hours is the appointment of an interim prime minister. One of the names put forward initially was Mohammed al-Baradei, which the Noor Party vehemently opposed. And then secondly, we've got Ziad Bahadine, that initially the Noor Party supported, but then withdrew that support. Why is that?
No, not true. It's not true. We did not mention any name like al-Baradei or Ziad Bahadine, and in the beginning we did not mention any name. We just put criteria for all Egyptians. The criteria were there is he should not be as part of the polarized political parties before June 30th, and he should has a good practice and technocrat experience in the government before, because this is a transition period. He cannot just discover how to deal with the government as al-Baradei, because he doesn't have this experience before.
Now, Amr al-Maki there of the Noor Party. Now, CCTV Africa has also spoken with the National Salvation Front. This alliance of Egyptian political parties maintains it does in fact have a map in place. It does have a plan for this transitional period. However, they do say they're concerned by what they call a lack of cooperation from Islamist parties. Here we spoke to the National Salvation Front's Khaled Dawood.
The main problem, of course, comes from the Muslim Brotherhood. They refuse the change that has happened. They refuse to recognize that majority of the Egyptians, in my view, came out on June 30 all over Egypt, not just one or two demonstrations, saying that they don't want President Morsi in office. The Muslim Brotherhood right now, we invite them to come for the national reconciliation talk. They refuse, and they say precondition Morsi has to be back in office, and this is impossible to achieve. And at the same time, they continue the language of incitement. You know that they have their sit-in for the past 10 days now in one quarter in Cairo, Nasser city, and they use very language full of incitement, full of hatred.
In the last week, there's been a lot of debate around whether this has been a coup or not a coup. And what I want to ask you is if the military's intervention in events in the last week, if that is a sincere attempt at preventing further bloodshed.
In this case in particular, after we had our January 25th revolution against Mubarak, the last military ruler of this country, he was the head of the Air Force, you know, we agreed that we want to move to democratic rule. The majority of Egyptians, after 1 year of Morsi, came out and said, this guy cannot do a good job, he's divided the country, he's led us to a near civil war, and they came up in big numbers demanding change. The army sided next to the people, they sided with the people, but they did not decide to do a military coup. They decided to give over power to the head of the Constitutional Court and to set a transitional period in 6 months. and said in repeated statements they don't want to rule the country, they are only protecting national security. We have to take them for their word until further notice.
Is there a clear plan for this transitional period?
There is indeed a clear plan that was announced by Defense Minister Sisi and the gathering that happened on July 3rd, together with other national forces, representatives of religious and secular parties, and the representative of the church and of Al-Azhar, which clarifies that first we are going to have an interim president who's the head of the Constitutional Court, followed by the formation of a new cabinet made up of an efficient prime minister with probably expertise in the economy, with the concentration on two issues, economy and security. We also want to have a committee to redraft our constitution and also to prepare for parliament elections and presidential elections.
Right, Khalid Dawood of the National Salvation Front. Now, Egypt still awaits news on any confirmation of an interim prime minister, as well as some detail on that timetable for presidential and parliamentary elections to come from the president's office. We return to you, Rama, in Nairobi.
Thank you very much for that update. That's CCTV's Famida Miller in the Egyptian capital, Cairo. Now let's bring you up to speed with a story that's essentially been developing in the last 1 hour. A car blast targeting government forces has left 2 soldiers injured in Mogadishu's Bakara market. Now, gunfire ensued shortly after that explosion. Witnesses confirm that a hand grenade was hurled at the government vehicle as it passed through that busy marketplace. Bakara market, of course, has been one of the strongholds of the Al-Shabaab militant group, and there are suspicions that that enormous district still could be a hiding place for members of that outlawed militia. Somali government officials, however, have not commented on this incident as yet. We'll certainly be keeping you updated on that story as it develops right here on Africa Live. Time for a short break now. Here's what's coming up next. Boosting relations. The Nigerian president is to seal $1 billion infrastructure loan deal while in China. We'll have the latest from Beijing on that.
We had agreed to respond in terms of the number of the films we received.
And producers and actors resolve to inspire emerging filmmakers as they showcase their talents at the Zanzibar International Film Festival. Welcome back. Nigeria's finance minister says President Goodluck Jonathan's 4-day visit to China on Tuesday will finalize a $1.1 billion low-interest loan, which is much needed for infrastructure investment in Africa's enormous economy, from airports to roads to hydropower plants as well. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala also said she's looking forward to Chinese investment and increased trade with Nigeria. The petroleum minister is among senior cabinet members on that trip, along with several state governors. China's loans are part of a $3 billion package approved by China with interest rates of less than 3 percentage points. Well, for more on that, visitors are now joined by CCTV's Wang Xinye, live from Beijing. Wang, this visit obviously is quite important for both countries. What should we expect to come out of it?
Sure. Of course, we know that President Jonathan is bringing many high-powered officials to China with him. Actually, almost all his ministers are coming with him. Here I've got a list. The delegation includes the ministers of foreign affairs, finance, defense, agriculture, trade investment, transport, and national planning, justice, culture, and tourism. So basically, you see a very large group is coming with him here. And talks between the leaders will focus on a greater economic cooperation for sure. But this time, President Jonathan is not only coming along with the officials, he has brought with him a lot of business leaders from Nigeria. And they will be attending an investment forum where they can meet their Chinese counterparts and talk about business chances. No doubt we're expecting bilateral agreements, deals, and that a lot of to be signed.
Indeed. Do we know exactly, however, which areas with respect to economic and trade deals on which these two countries will be specifically focusing on in their discussions?
Yes, there are. Actually, experts in the industries are expecting that the cooperations in oil and agriculture industries may very likely be topping their agenda. We know that Nigeria has been working very hard to feed the largest population in Africa and for a long time been relying very heavily on imported food. Figures show that 1/3 of the country's revenue is spending on buying food from other countries, which is certainly unsustainable. And China started to help Nigeria boosting its agriculture industry 10 years ago by providing technologies and sending experts to the country. So China and Nigeria have very good experience of working together on this field. So a lot of Chinese business leaders are actually eyeing on this opportunity and find whether they can just get enough chances to invest in this country's agriculture industry. Also, energy cooperation is also drawing a lot of attentions. Nigeria has the largest oil reserve in Africa, as we all know, ranking the 5th in the world. And for a country like China, so hungry for energy, that is certainly attractive. So, according to Nigerian governments, the delegation may very likely be talking to Sinopec, one of China's oil giants, and they believe that the both sides will see a lot of benefit from working together on this. Back to you.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that. That's Wang Xinye over in Beijing, giving us the latest, of course, on President Goodluck Jonathan's 4-day visit to China. Something different for you now. Film buffs from right around the world have been gathering in Zanzibar, lovely little island, to see some of the best movies out of Africa and beyond. They're there for the Zanzibar International Film Festival. It's a 9-day extravaganza of film and music and the arts. CCTV's Maria Galang is there. She filed this report.
For movie fans, it doesn't get much better than this. 9 days out of the office, hundreds of screenings to choose from, concerts too, and all of it set on an exotic island. The Zanzibar International Film Festival, or Tamasha as it's popularly known as here on the island, is now in its 16th edition. The rich history and culture of Zanzibar enhances this experience, with spectators treated to screenings at this open-air amphitheater. The festival is also a competition, East Africa's version of the Oscars. And this year, there was a big jump in the number of submissions.
We had a great response in terms of the number of the films we received. We received about 257 films, and as you know, we cannot screen all of the films. They're very beautiful films, but we only selected about 80.
The show not only attracts the cream of the movie-making industry, but also tourists. More than 200,000 this year alone, providing a much-needed boost for the local economy.
As you can see, for about 16 years, ZIF is bringing a lot of guests that are coming, people that are coming from out, foreigners, the tourists that are coming to visit the island at the same time when ZIF is happening. So ZIF become a reason for them to travel to come.
This is my first time, and it's been absolutely wonderful. Very well put together.
I think it's a great opportunity to see how cinema is like really growing in Africa. So it's been wonderful. And just meeting people from around the world, it's good, yeah.
I would definitely come again. I've had a great time. I've learned a lot. And there's been loads of other things going on as well, like the workshops. I'd wish I'd known about the workshops. I would try to go on one of those. They've been great. And there's been a nice selection of music as well.
The festival provides a valuable platform for local filmmakers and actors to share their experience with foreign counterparts. But more than that, it's a unique opportunity to show moviegoers from around the world just what they're missing. Maria Galang, CCTV, Zanzibar.